Good Friday evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Dee Dee Gatton, and we are learning new details tonight as the urgent search for Nancy Guthrie intensifies nearly a week after she was disappeared. Police are investigating a new message as the FBI returned to her home. Ryan Smith at the live desk with the latest from the ground. Ryan?
Yeah, tonight, Dee Dee, we are tracking, in fact, several new developments tonight out of Arizona in that urgent search here to find Nancy Guthrie. The FBI and Pima County Sheriff's Department are aware of that new message they confirmed tonight that was sent to a Tucson television station. That Sheriff's Department writing here in part, quote, investigators are actively inspecting the information provided in the message for its authenticity. The 84-year-old mother of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie was reported missing last weekend. Authorities say they believe she was abducted from her home. Now, they are reviewing possible ransom notes sent earlier in the week. The FBI now offering a $50,000 reward for any information that leads to her safe return. Now, today, local and federal law enforcement seen here. They blocked off the street in front of Nancy's home. Deputies and federal agents are now going door to door, we are told, speaking with neighbors, really circling back in hopes to hunt down any new clues in that case. Also new in the search tonight, take a look at this. Digital billboards with an FBI phone number are now going up in 3 different states. The billboards will be active in a handful of cities across Texas, New Mexico, and California, all in the urgent search for Nancy.
Diving deeper, Ed Smart knows the pain of the Guthrie family all too well. After his daughter Elizabeth's safe return, he's worked for the last 25 years to be a support to families dealing with cases of abduction.
My heart just goes out to them, and knowing what the nightmare is like. You know, there was certainly a point during the course of Elizabeth's ordeal that the frustration, the level of, when are we going to get an answer, that you just thought, dear God, please just let me know. Let this be over with.
Smart adds that one of the most shocking elements for families is the disbelief that something like this can happen at all, especially to an older adult. We have continuing coverage of the search for Nancy Guthrie throughout our newscast. And for more on our top story and other headlines, go to our website, thenationaldesk.com.
There's been no proof of life, no direct communication with her family, and messages possibly from the alleged abductors have been sent to a local TV station and TMZ of all places. As technology and artificial intelligence increasingly intersect with violent crime, investigators are now faced with challenges that did not exist even just a few years ago. Joining us this morning to discuss is veteran FBI Special Agent in Charge and former head of the Chicago PD, Jody Weiss. Jody, I know you and I have talked about this for the past week constantly. 1 week now into this investigation, what phase is the case in right now, and how does that differ from the first 48 to 72 hours?
Yeah, Jan, we're kind of in a more of an analytical phase right now. As you know, time is the greatest enemy in a case like this with either a child of tender years or an elderly person. Initially, leads are coming in left and right. It's chaotic. Organization is really the key, and that's one thing the Bureau can bring to a situation like this. But now that we enter this time frame, things are going to slow down a little bit. There's going to be analysis. There's going to be review of the information that's being brought in. Did we miss something? There's going to be psychological profiles. This might be one of the reasons why people are going back to Nancy's house, why they're going over to Annie's house to see, did we miss something? Did we learn something? Do we want to corroborate? So right now, you've got this slow down analytical phase. People are still working hard, but it's more of like, did we miss something? Let's go back and start over. Did we miss something out there that could lead us to her?
And they're doing this because they don't have a clue? Is that why they're doing this?
More than likely, it's like nothing has popped yet. So now, did we get something in that we just overlooked? Because in the beginning, these cases come in, leads come in really fast. They're investigated. It comes in. Did we miss something? Was there follow-up that needs to be done? So that's what my take is going on right now. Let's go back and look at this from A to Z again and see, is there something out there that we missed the first time?
Well, let's talk about the facts, because in most abduction cases, law enforcement expects some form of proof of life. How significant is it that none has been provided here? And internally, how is this now being treated at the FBI? And also, how unusual is it for the abductors to avoid direct communication with family members?
Yeah, that's why this case is so unusual, Jan. There is no one in America, I think, prior law enforcement or current, that can say, oh, yeah, I've worked cases like this. It's so unusual. And this is what makes me almost wonder, is this really a kidnapping case? Because without a proof of life, and it'd be so easy for the kidnappers to simply say, give us some information that only Savannah or her family will know. It is not hard. And to demand $6 million with no proof of life is very, very unusual. And then no negotiation, no real communication. It's very, very skeptical to me that something perhaps didn't happen along with this. My fear is that it was a burglary, which happens on a frequent basis, and something happened in there, something bad happened to Nancy Guthrie, and perhaps the body was removed, maybe to preserve evidence, and then somebody, some sick individual, takes advantage of the fact that she's missing and tries to come up with a hoax. I hope I'm totally wrong on this, but I heard Chris Swecker talk about this the other day, and some of my friends, we've been talking about this. So much of this is just so unusual, it doesn't make sense to me.
And also, family members are often considered potential suspects early in cases like this, which is very standard procedure. So at what point can family members typically be ruled out? What factors help move that process along, and why haven't we heard they've been ruled out from the FBI?
That's a good point, Jan. Oftentimes, every time you look at family members, because they're the ones that had the most interaction with the victim. Why haven't we heard? Maybe it's simplistic as no one really has asked and they haven't clarified that. But normally you might do polygraphs, and then information that's gleaned from the polygraphs would, of course, be verified. But yeah, you always look at family members first. It's just kind of protocol to do that. So again, that's something I'm sure people are looking at right now to make sure all the family members can be ruled out and then move on outside of the family.
You mentioned something about perhaps a burglary gone wrong, and then because of DNA or whatnot, a body was possibly removed. But wouldn't that create more liability for the bad guys? Because now they have to dispose of a body. There's cameras everywhere.
You're right. But the one thing about Arizona, there is massive amounts of desert all around Tucson, everywhere up where I'm at in Scottsdale. And I'm thinking if that happened, and let's pray it did not, but if it did, I think it was startled. It wasn't really planned out. It wasn't expected. And the decision would be, let's get the evidence out of here. There's plenty of places to hide bodies out in the desert. So hopefully that didn't happen. But again, I bring that up just because of the oddity in this whole case. No proof of life, no direct communications, and it keeps coming down. Why? If I'm asked to pay $6 million, I'm going to demand some proof of life. Yeah. And it could be so simple in today's world.
Yeah, and then very quickly, we talk about the fact that this was pretty elaborate, a pretty elaborate hoax, especially if this person was working in tandem with the person who might have abducted her or, taken her out of her house, because they did, from what we understand, have some they had specificity in regards to what happened inside that home. Is that what you're hearing too?
Yes, absolutely. It does seem based on that somebody, at least whoever is orchestrating this, was inside the home, talked to somebody. They talk about her Apple Watch. Well, where was the watch? Where was it found? Where did she keep it? Where did she charge it? So yeah, there was some basic generalities that somebody gave for specifics, but we didn't get the real deep stuff, or at least we haven't been told that yet. But hopefully, let's pray that this woman's returned safe and sound.
Yeah, all right. FBI Special Agent in Charge and former head of the Chicago PD, Jody Weiss, thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Jan.
We are just hours away from an urgent deadline as the desperate search for Nancy Guthrie stretches into a second week. There are reports her alleged abductors are demanding $6 million by the end of the day in exchange for her safe return. And thanks for joining us. I'm Jan Jeffcoat. It is Monday, February 9th, just over a week since the mother of Today's Show co-host Savannah Guthrie disappeared. And this morning, investigators now raising new questions about the ransom demand, since there's been no direct communication with the family and no proof of life. Over the weekend, Nancy's children did release another emotional video message saying they are prepared to fully cooperate.
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
Mark Boyle joining us now from the live desk with these latest developments. Good morning to you, Mark. And as we just heard, the Nancy's family saying they're going to pay, but there's still a lot of questions as to the validity of the ransom itself, why these alleged abductors have not actually sent any signs that she's still alive or had any direct communication with the family. There's a lot of questions.
A lot of questions, and keeping in mind that search continues in and around the home of Nancy Guthrie this morning, Jan. The Guthrie family has until today to pay their mother's kidnappers after receiving another ransom note last week. The family said it would pay that $6 million to get her back, but with the supposed kidnapper not giving a place or location to even send that money, it's really a big question here as if this is even legit at all. The Pima County Sheriff's Office posting a message on social media. The latest message saying the Nancy Guthrie investigation is ongoing. Follow-up continues in multiple locations. No suspects, person of interest here in this case as of right now. The most recent ransom note says Nancy will be killed if the family doesn't send that money by 5 p.m. tonight. It also has been more than a week since Nancy received her medication. You'll recall she depends on that to live. Neighbors living nearby are praying for her safe return.
And I can't even imagine how she would cope with something like that. What she would even do, and how it would affect her if that happened to her in the middle of the night. It's just a very unnerving thing to happen to somebody, especially an elderly woman.
Certainly unnerving, no doubt about that. And we are tracking this story, new developments as they break this morning right here at the live desk.
Another plea for the public's help in the urgent search for Nancy Guthrie. Ryan Smith at the live desk with the new details from the family and FBI. Ryan.
Dee Dee, in this new video just released earlier today, Savannah Guthrie here says her and her family are now at an hour of desperation. This as a purported ransom deadline demanding $6 million in Bitcoin has now officially come and gone.
We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where. If you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement.
Now, over the weekend, drone footage here showed us investigators searching Nancy Guthrie's property just outside of Tucson, Arizona, even examining a septic tank you see there behind her home. As of today, the Pima County Sheriff saying they are in fact expanding their search and following new leads in the case. No suspect or person of interest has been identified. The FBI now offering a $50,000 reward for information that leads to Nancy Guthrie's safe return.
Diving deeper, we are looking at three of the largest ransoms ever paid in the U.S. In 1974, Patty Hearst, heiress to the Hearst media fortune, was kidnapped by the Sudanese Liberation Army, which demanded that her family distribute a significant amount of food to needy Californians. Her father ultimately distributed $6 million worth of food, equivalent to nearly $30 million in today's money. In 1953, 6-year-old Bobby Greenlease Jr., the son of a wealthy car dealer, was kidnapped. A ransom of $600,000 was paid, an exorbitant amount at the time, and is equivalent to over $5 million today. The boy was tragically killed before the ransom was paid, but the kidnappers still made off with the money. And in 1975, Samuel Bronfman II, the heir to the Seagram Distillery Company, was released after his father paid a $2.3 million ransom. That is equivalent to over $11 million today. And fast forward to today, we will bring you updates on the search for Nancy Guthrie as soon as they become available. For more on our top story and other headlines, check out thenationaldesk.com.